I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about Little Red Riding Hood. So if you didn't know, my book Sisters Red is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, which basically means I read like every version of Red Riding Hood I could get my hands on before I wrote my book. I'd always liked fairy tales in that kind of roundabout way, but when I was writing Sisters Red, I discovered Red Riding Hood is like a legit, really good fairy tale with some super dark undertones that I love. So here are 5 things I learned about the story in my research for Sisters Red. Number 1, around the time that early versions of the story start to pop up, there was a huge werewolf hunt in Europe, very similar to the Salem witch trials in the US. Specifically, this farmer named Peter Stump was accused of being a werewolf and a cannibal. They stretched this guy out on a rack and tortured him until, to make the pain stop, he confessed to eating a whole bunch of kids. Then they brutally killed him and his family. They take their werewolves seriously in the 14th century, man. They're not letting some sexy werewolf swoop in and take your daughter to prom. They're gonna kill you with sticks. Number 2, the earliest printed version was by a guy named Charles Perrault. In that version, there is no happy ending. The girl and the grandmother get eaten by the wolf. The end. Charles even includes a little paragraph at the end of the story explaining how if you disobey your mom, you will die a horrible death. You know, in case you didn't get that from the story itself. Number 3, the Red Riding Hood itself is interpreted in a bunch of different ways, but it's often thought to stand for lust and sexuality. Number 4, the same type of story where a monster, lures a young girl who's disobeying her mother into his trap, that story exists all over the world. In the Chinese version, it's a tiger instead of a wolf that charms Little Red. And number 5, Red Riding Hood never has a name in the traditional fairy tale, which incidentally is one of the reasons it was so important for me to give her a name in Sisters Red. Thanks for watching, and thanks for visiting bookswithbite.co.uk.